Inside the grand entrance of the Golden One Center, DeMar DeRozan was introduced for the very first time as a Sacramento King. I have for you the best bits from his press conference right here on Locked On Kings.
You are Locked On Kings, your daily Sacramento Kings podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for another episode of Locked On Kings.
Hello and welcome into Locked On Kings, your podcast hub for Sacramento Kings coverage all offseason long. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. My name is Matt George. I have the privilege of being your host here. I'm a Sacramento sports anchor and reporter for ABC 10 News. And of course, I was inside of the Golden One Center for DeMar DeRozan's introductory press conference. We're going to watch through some of the best clips and best moments from the presser together. Also, I had the opportunity to spend about 4 minutes with DeRozan for a one-on-one interview. I posted that interview by itself on the Locked On Kings podcast YouTube channel. It's also available in an audio version for podcast listeners. It's the episode before this. So if you want to go and check that out and you missed that episode, I highly encourage you to listen to it. I talked with him about different things from what we talked about in the press conference. So it was unique, it's special, and getting the opportunity to interact with DeRozan and talk with him. Very impressed by him. Of course, very, very well put together. A total vet, had great things to say, of course, about the city, about the beam. He's a big fan of the beam, which you're going to hear here in just a little bit. And his excitement to be a part of the Kings and be a part of what gets the Kings back to not just the playoffs, but hopefully championship contendership status in the near future. It was really cool to interact with him. And I just left with even more excitement, not just for the regular season to watch him play with Fox and Sabonis and Monk and Keegan and the rest of the team, but just to be able to cover him, right? And to be able to see him as part of the Sacramento Kings group for the next 3 years. So really had a good time. Again, check out that interview that I did with DeMar at any time. Just don't miss it because it's a really good interview, really good conversation. But we're going to watch through. I have 9 clips for you from 7 clips for you from the press conference today. 6 of them are of Lamar or from DeMar, and the last one is from Monte McNair. So we're going to dive right into these, and we're going to start with DeMar. Every one of these press conferences, they start with opening statements. So Monte steps to the podium or sits down and takes the mic and thanks everybody for coming and introduces DeMar and talks about how excited he is to have DeMar DeRozan there. And then he passes it over to DeMar to give his opening statement, to say essentially whatever he wants and what's on his mind. And DeMar immediately talked about how much the Sacramento Kings wanted him and how big of a factor that played in his decision. And then he also brought up the beam for the first of what would end up being many times in this presser.
The want that they showed, going in free agency was amazing. I ain't gonna lie. It always felt good to be wanted somewhere, and from day one, they showed that. So it's an honor to be able to represent this organization and build on what this organization's been doing the last couple of years. It's something special. I definitely want to be a part of it, and I want to be one of those guys that hit the beam to light up at night. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Looking forward to playing with this young, exciting, talented team. Great coaching staff. It's amazing. Last couple of days, that's all I kind of been thinking about is, putting on this jersey, representing the city, hearing the fans scream as loud as y'all can. So I'm definitely looking forward to it, man. It's going to be an exciting year. I'm definitely going to work my butt off more than ever, to make sure, the city get what it deserves.
So there are really 3 parts to those opening statements. I'll start with the last part you heard there at the very end, almost his pledge to the fans about how hard he's going to work. Even though he's 34 years old, he's been in the league for a long time. He knows that he's not here in Sacramento as the ending of a career or anything like that, or a last victory lap for the next 3 years. he's here to win, right? And you're going to hear him talk even more about winning and how much he thinks being a winner in Sacramento and the Sacramento Kings, how they can win, drew him to the Kings. But his pledge to Kings fans that he's going to put in the work from day one to get better and to help get this team to ultimately where they want to go is certainly a welcome thing to hear. DeMar talking about lighting the beam. I don't care. Game 1 inside the Golden One Center. As soon as the Sacramento Kings win their first game in the Golden One Center, for real, not preseason, for real, DeMar DeRozan has to light the beam. Like, I don't care if De'Aaron Fox is 50 points and hits a game winner. It's DeMar DeRozan's. It should be written in the contract. DeMar DeRozan gets to light the first beam of the season inside the Golden One Center. It's funny how he expressed that. And then the part about being wanted, I thought was really interesting because it came out earlier today from Shams that it was the Kings or the Miami Heat for DeMar DeRozan. We thought it was going to be Los Angeles, the Lakers, or the Clippers. Really, the Lakers and the Clippers. We know both those teams had interest in DeMar. Apparently, like, the Lakers were never even real players. Like, their offer didn't even come close to Sacramento. So I guess it helps to when you're trying to attract a talent over Los Angeles. I guess you're giving them more money and paying them more is a big part of that. So good on the Kings to take advantage of that there. But still, choosing Sacramento over Miami, that's another top marquee market where a lot of players want to go for obvious reasons outside of just the basketball team there. It's still pretty significant. And apparently how much the Kings wanted him, how aggressively they pursued him, how they wanted to make it work and almost accelerated the process to get it done. That was really important to DeMar. So that's credit to Monte McNair and credit to his front office staff for being able to work that out. Next, I mentioned the winning thing. Here's DeMar DeRozan talking about winning in Sacramento. Essentially, he was asked why he chose the Kings.
How many times I've seen that beam lit up when I was chilling at home, especially being on Central Time. Me watching, I watch every NBA game. So, like I said, you just always seeing something lit up. And it's like, God damn, what's the significance of pushing this button, But like I said, winning solves all. And that's one thing I always express to guys that I play with that, want to be all-stars, who want to get paid, blah, blah, blah. Everything that winning solves everything, and you want to be a part of winning. You want to be a winner. You want to be known as a winner. So for me, that's just, that's the most appealing thing for me, and you see it every single night when this team plays. It's all about winning.
That was a pretty consistent word, winning, in this press conference, not just from DeMar, but even from Monte McNair, that Monte pointed out the fact that this team has won 48 games and then 46 games over back-to-back seasons. It's the first time the Kings have had that many wins in back-to-back seasons since like 2003 to 2005. So it's been a while since Sacramento's been able to do that, and that's helped build a culture and build something that was attractive enough for a player of DeMar DeRozan's status to come here. Yeah, he's getting money, he's getting paid for sure, and that has an influence on things. But DeMar DeRozan is here because not only does he want to win, he thinks the Sacramento Kings are a team that it's in prime position to win, and also just embracing the challenge of the Western Conference and everything too. But of course, Saturday was a tremendous day, the actual day that the deal got done. And then after the deal got done itself, DeMar came out inside the Golden One Center right before tip-off of Game 1 of the California Classic to a big ovation from Kings fans. And, of course, he talked about the reception that he received.
I remember playing at the old arena, when they had the cowbells and all that. But
still got them.
Yeah, still got them? All right, cool. But to get the reception I got the other night was amazing. Like I said, I've over the last couple of years playing against the Kings, it's been tough coming in this building. You feel it. It's not many arenas in this league where when you walk in, you feel the atmosphere, you feel the tension in the air, feeling like you are on the road when you're a road team. So to be able to get that reception the other night, it's amazing. It's the respect, the love that's already shown. Had me hungry. I think I left there that night and, went straight to the gym when I got back home. So, just the drive, the hunger, the passion that the fans show, you definitely just want to give it back.
Hear that, Kings fans? The passion and love that you've already shown DeMar DeRozan, and that's just a taste of what he's going to receive. The ovation that he is going to get when he first steps onto the floor legitimately as the Sacramento King. He'll probably get a big ovation when he plays in Sacramento during preseason. But that first home game, that home opener when DeMar DeRozan is introduced, man, he is going to get quite the ovation. And of course, when he hits the big buckets that he's known for hitting. Last time he was in the Golden One Center was when he was with the Chicago Bulls, and he scored 19 points in the fourth quarter to lead the Bulls to an epic comeback win over Sacramento back in March. That day was painful for us then, but now we can look upon it maybe a little bit fondly because that DeMar DeRozan is a part of the Sacramento Kings, right? So the first time he goes on a tear like that or hits one of his patented big shots, mid-range jumpers, whatever the case may be, man, the Golden One Center is going to go nuts for him. The fans already love him. And look, he already wants to repay that love by getting to work and working hard. And again, of course, he talked about just how great the Cowboys are and how difficult of a place to play Sacramento has been throughout his career just because of the advantage. Now that advantage is on his side, which I know he's really excited about. But I actually got the chance to ask DeMar about that Saturday as a whole. And in just a second, I'm going to play for you. He's going to walk us through what that Saturday was like, from arriving in Sacramento to walking out on the floor after signing his deal with the Kings, or should I say agreeing to his deal with the Kings. I'll play that for you. Plus, he's going to talk about his rivalry with De'Aaron Fox for Clutch Player of the Year. I'm going to have Monty McNair, a clip for you from Monty McNair talking about Harrison Barnes. A lot more coming still on Locked On Kings. Before that, though, I want to let you know that today's episode of Locked On Kings is brought to you by Game Time, an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on Game Time actually go down the closer that you get to an event. Now, with baseball, that's especially awesome because obviously baseball is basically played every single day. Some days you just decide, hey, you know what? I want to go to the ballpark here in Sacramento. Hey, I want to go to Sutter Health Park and watch the Sacramento River Cats play. That's where the Oakland A's or Sacramento A's, or I guess just A's, are going to be playing for the next couple of seasons. And baseball is the perfect way to take advantage of Game Time and their incredible deals, right? I did it going to a Giants game during the playoffs a couple of years ago. You can save up to 60% off buying last-minute tickets for sports, but also for concerts, for comedy shows, theatrical productions, all sorts of things. You can find tickets on Game Time. They have their all-in pricing, so you know exactly what you're paying up front. No hidden fees or anything like that. What the price says is what it is. It's a feature that really all ticket marketplaces should have. Plus, they have the lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find a lower, better price for similar or the same seats on another site. Plus, with their Game Time ticket coverage, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, Game Time. Go and get your last-minute tickets at the lowest price, guaranteed. I said Saturday would be a day that I think goes down in Kings history, with Malik officially signing his contract in the morning to the courting and ultimately signing of DeMar DeRozan. So I had the opportunity to ask DeMar a couple of questions in the press conference. The first one I asked was for him just to walk us through what that Saturday was like.
Can you walk us through whatever you can, your Saturday as a whole, from arriving to getting to the moment of with the fans? Yeah,
it was big. I just wanted to come here more so than anything and just check out the facility, meet the staff, meet front office, just kind of get a feel, instead of, just going back and forth, talking with my agent. I just want to get a feel for myself of everything, so I flew here, sat Coach Brown office, we watched a little of the G League game, sat there and talked. De'Aaron came in, we sat there and talked. Doug Christie came in and we sat there and talked. So everybody just kept coming in the room. We just sat there and talked. So, but it was a great feel. Everything was genuine. Everything was real, and everything was about the betterment of how we can make this franchise grow. And I left middle of the day. I just wanted to get it done, and kind of get the relief off my shoulders. and that's what happened. Everything was just genuine from that day. And, we was in the back eating, and all of a sudden I just heard, let's go outside, the fans out there. Next thing you know, when we walked out and got the reception that we got, and that was kind of like the icing on the cake, for me. That just made me feel like I made the right decision.
He absolutely did make the right decision. It's cool to hear him break that down, because Anthony Slater of The Athletic reported more details on how that day went. Jay Triano, who's the Kings lead assistant coach, who was former coach of DeMar DeRozan in Toronto, goes and picks him up from the airport, right? And he comes and he has a lunch with De'Aaron Fox, and De'Aaron was such an instrumental part of this process. In fact, I'm not going to play you this audio clip, but he said during the press conference too that De'Aaron and Malik were amongst the first guys that reached out to him, period, about the possibility of playing in Sacramento and how much they would love for him to play in Sacramento. That's a big deal, right? You heard about the Klay Thompson situation. LeBron James from the Lakers calls Klay Thompson about potentially courting him. Now, of course, Klay eventually went over to Dallas, but this is things that happen, right? If you can get your top players to be the ultimate ambassadors for your team, to contact these guys and at least get them to start the conversation or consider it, right? And then the biggest asset that Sacramento has is just get them here. Once you get them here with the state-of-the-art facility. Now, unfortunately, the weather wasn't the best. Hey, DeMar DeRozan, welcome to the surface of the freaking sun in Sacramento that we've been dealing with over the last week and a half. And somehow you saw in the clips, he's still wearing long sleeves and a vest looking like Monty McNair out there. I don't get it, but hey, it's nice and cool inside the Golden One Center. The AC is good in there. Once you get players in Sacramento, typically they love it here. They don't want to leave, right? So DeMar comes and has the great morning and afternoon that he had. He said in that clip, by the middle of the day, he was like, "All right, I'm sold. Let's just get this deal done." So full credit to the Sacramento Kings. Clearly, they did a great job of wooing him and courting him and attracting him during that entire day. And again, the aggressiveness in which they pursued DeRozan clearly meant a great deal to him. Some players would have taken that and filed that away as part of their options and appreciated it and maybe read it a little bit as desperation. But for the Sacramento Kings, it was, look, you're the guy that we think we're missing. We're right there. We're right on the cusp. We need you. We want you. And we think that you would not just thrive here in Sacramento, that you'll eventually want to be a part of Sacramento. And clearly DeMar came over, saw everything that was going on, had some conversations and ended up going, yeah, you know what? You're right. I want to be a part of the Sacramento Kings, which is pretty cool. Another question that I got to ask DeMar was about De'Aaron Fox. 2 seasons ago, De'Aaron Fox won Clutch Player of the Year. The guy that he beat was DeMar DeRozan. Well, apparently DeMar still feels a certain way about that and has used that as fuel.
Yourself and De'Aaron have been battling back and forth for Clutch Player of the Year over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, I told him that. I told him I was mad 2 years ago that he got it and I didn't get it. But yeah, we definitely been battling. And, just with that there, me being the competitor that I am, I sit and watch, a lot of those moments. And I think even in Chicago, I remember he had a game winner on us in Chicago, and I kind of made it a thing. This past season when we played here, I think we was losing by like 20. I made it a thing in the fourth quarter to make sure we won, just in case we was head to head and in that battle again. But to see someone as special as him, I've been following him since he was in college. See the amazing things he's able to do. Just being a part of that could be special.
So DeMar has, in the last 2 seasons, the most clutch points, which, by the way, just so you understand what clutch is within the last 5 minutes of the game when the score is within 5 points. So whether you're ahead by 5 or trailing by 5, if you score within those margins, that's considered clutch points or clutch scoring or a clutch bucket. DeRozan is the number 1 player in clutch points scored over the last 2 seasons. He's in like the 340s or 350s. I apologize, I don't know the exact number. And then De'Aaron Fox is number 2 at like 314 or 315 or something like that. Now you got both of these guys playing on the same team. And again, if you missed my interview with DeMar, I got the chance when I sat down with him to ask him a little bit more about that. And what I asked him was like, okay, now you're on the same team together. And in the fourth quarter, if you're a defense, like how do you stop that? when you have the two arguably most clutch players in the league on the same team that the Kings can go to at any time that'll more than likely be on the floor together, what do you do? How do you stop that? And DeRozan basically said, like, I don't think you can. Like, we're so good. And DeRozan talked about there's going to be nights where I go, hey, Fox, go win this game for us. And there's going to be nights where Fox goes, hey, DeMar, go win this game for us, right? And that's a lot of what I talked about when this news was first announced, when I was so excited about it, was because not just in clutch situations, but throughout the entirety of a game, the Kings now have not just another reliable scoring option. They have one of the best go-to get you a bucket mid-range isolation scores in the league on this team now to help De'Aaron take some pressure off of De'Aaron and also take some attention away from De'Aaron. So De'Aaron can still do his thing, and De'Aaron might still lead the league in clutch points and win clutch player of the year over DeRozan anyway. But this time DeRozan will help with that because DeRozan's drawing his own attention. So the kind of the rivalry between the two of them is going to be a lot of fun, but to see them as teammates, like thinking about closing lineups with this group, right? Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Murray, Sabonis, like that's, I mean, I think that should be the starting five, but that's more than likely going to be the closing five, give or take how players are playing any given night. But those are the five best players on this Kings team. Man, if Fox and Fox and DeRozan are drawing so much attention on offense, and Keegan can do his thing as the perimeter merchant, and Domantas Sabonis can do his thing, and Malik Monk is now a third or even fourth option that, believe it or not, a player as flashy and as creative as Malik can kind of fade into the background in those lineups, not because he's not good, but because there's just so much talent on the floor. Boy, I can't wait. I cannot wait to see that in action. Have a couple more clips for you. DeMar DeRozan also talked about playing for Mike Brown. And like I said, Monty McNair are going to talk about Harrison Barnes trading him away as part of this deal. I have that for you here in just a second. All right, last couple of clips here. I didn't have my question here, but this was another one of my questions actually at the very end of the press conference. I got the chance to ask DeMar about playing for Mike Brown and how he thinks that relationship is going to go between the two of them.
I'm looking forward to it. Since I've been in the league, playing against him, respect level that I have for him since he's been in the league, paying attention to, everything he's done. The respect is there, and it goes both ways. So with that, I pride myself on being one of the most coachable guys. Whatever is needed, however it's needed, I try to be the guy that you always could count on. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a piece of cake. I remember seeing a video, I don't know if it was last year or something, he was running sprints with the team, and I was like, that's what type of person you want to play for.
I have two things about the Mike Brown, DeMar DeRozan relationship that I'm really looking forward to seeing. The first thing is he talked about how coachable he is with Mike, or how coachable he is, period, and how he'll respond to Mike in that way. I'm very, very interested to see how much of an extension of Mike Brown, DeMar DeRozan becomes on the floor. We've talked so much over the years about vocal leadership, and the guys need that leader that's going to hold players accountable. And DeMar DeRozan does not seem like the personality, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen too many clips or too many moments where DeMar was screaming at his teammates or anything like that. So I'm not suggesting that that's who he is. But if DeMar can be a further extension of what Mike Brown is preaching and bring that accountability to this locker room and specifically to the guys on the floor and in the huddle during timeouts, really excited to see that element of DeMar and Brown's relationship. And then I'm very interested to see what Mike gets out of DeMar on the defensive end, because he's not a bad defender. He's not a great defender either. He's not really known for his defense. Mike obviously has an expectation of guys playing hard on both ends of the floor. We know how good DeMar is with the ball in his hands and getting a mid-range bucket, and the Kings are going to rely on that a lot this season and over these next few seasons. But how DeMar performs on the defense, how he buys in and adapts to especially the physical, aggressive, 110% effort defense that the Sacramento Kings were emphasizing and implementing over the last third of or the final third of last season. I think that's going to be really interesting to see what Mike is able to bring out of him there. Final thing is from Monty McNair. Monty was asked about trading away Harrison Barnes, and Monty, of course, touches on that. And then even DeMar DeRozan hopped in on the end of this answer as well.
Yeah, obviously Harrison, I think along with De'Aaron, one of the two guys that's been here since I came aboard, and incredible competitor, obviously meant so much to this community, and I think it was fantastic that Harrison got to be a part of the team that broke the playoff drought here. Had some incredible moments here in Sac, and he's going to have incredible moments going forward, so we wish him the best. But just obviously an incredible player, even better human, and happy to have crossed paths with him. Wish him the best going forward.
He's fine. I talked to Harrison yesterday, so he's fine. He was asking me about places in San Antonio, so
even more leadership there from DeMar. If you haven't seen Harrison's thank you video that he put out to Sacramento, it's on all of his social media platforms, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, whatever the case may be. You could also just probably Google Harrison Barnes Goodbye Sacramento, and you'll see the video and the post that he put up, which is really, really cool. I've talked about Harrison already, but to bring it up again, I mean, an absolute total pro. I'm going to miss covering him, just going to miss the steady, consistent, respected presence that he's been, not just in that locker room, but for this organization and for this city in general. The respect that I have and the respect that almost everybody Harrison Barnes meets has for him is just unmeasurable. So I'm glad that Monty was asked about it and spoke about it a little bit, and DeMar chimed in there at the end. If you want to listen to the full press conference of DeMar and Monty from today, because there's more good stuff in there. It is available on abc10.com or the ABC10 YouTube channel if you want to watch the entire thing in full. And then again, remember, I did a sit down one-on-one with DeMar DeRozan, spent about 4 minutes with him inside the Golden One Center today. That podcast / video is up and available right now for you to check out. Today, Wednesday, is the championship game of the California Classic. The Kings and the Warriors battling for the California Classic trophy. Now, this is the main Kings squad who left Sacramento, was not a part of the final Cali Classic game today against the Charlotte Hornets. They are up over in the Chase Center, including Keon Ellis, Colby Jones, all the two-way guys, Mason Jones, right? So that team will be competing for the trophy today. I will not be at that game. I'm actually going up to Tahoe right now. I'm going to be covering the celebrity golf tournament up at Tahoe at Edgewood, which is a tremendous event. So I'll be covering that. So I'm probably going to be doing a podcast tomorrow or in the near future, just an overall takeaways and thoughts from the performances of the California Classic heading into Summer League in Las Vegas. And I'll be able to, I'll break down kind of what I've seen, and hopefully I'll be talking about a California Classic championship at the end of it. We're already sharing the freaking event with Golden State. We can't be letting them take the trophy, right? That trophy's got to come home to Sacktown, where this event all started, where the Cali Classic belongs for sure. So if you're going to that game, sorry, I will not be there, but bring the noise there inside the Chase Center. Let's get that trophy. And of course, we'll talk about that plus more to come this offseason. We got a lot of time to kill between now and the start of training camp. So many storylines, so many things to discuss. Gonna have a lot of great interviews, great guests. Tons of stuff I have planned is still coming here on the Locked On Kings podcast. This week has been phenomenal, especially with all the stuff with DeMar DeRozan. The numbers have been unbelievable. So thank you so much for your support. Can't wait to have you join me on the next episode. Until then, my name is Matt George. You've been listening to Locked On Kings, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.